might think of nice neighborhoods. You might look for nice cars parked outside of neighborhoods. But why do you have to, drive around and case the joint yourself if you can do it from the comfort of your own home?
According to cybersecurity executive Christy Edwards, blurring your home can give you some peace of mind against would-be thieves who might be casing your home. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station, where your business comes first.
TV journalist Jane Velez Mitchell here, excited to tell you about my show, Unchained TV, Animals, People, Planet. Most of us say we love animals. When we truly respect them, we benefit with a happier outlook, better health, even nicer weather. I'll explain when you join me Mondays at 1 p.m. on KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind. And check out UnchainedTV.com.
This is KCAA.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it. KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Former President Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, are holding events in swing states this week. Trump is set to hold a town hall in Wisconsin tomorrow and will speak at a rally in Pennsylvania on Friday. Meanwhile, Vance is set to speak at rallies in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin today. Elsewhere, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, will kick off a bus tour in the battleground state of Georgia later this afternoon, with a rally scheduled for tomorrow in Savannah. Harris is under Republican scrutiny for including her VP pick in her first interview since announcing her run for president. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders claims Democrats think Harris can't handle a one-on-one interview.
It's clear that her own team and her own party think she needs a babysitter, and that's why they're putting her vice presidential nominee on the stage with her.
Republicans also question why the interview needs to be pre-taped. Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are set to sit with CNN in an interview to air at 9 p.m. Eastern Thursday. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
There's nothing better than turning on the radio and listening to an old song, unless, of course, it's grabbing a local newspaper, a cup of coffee, and thumbing through the pages of the latest news, views, opinions, and entertainment. Hi, I'm Mark Westwood. I'm the general manager of a few area radio stations. It's my pleasure to welcome some new neighbors to our area. A big welcome to Steve Strickbine and Times Local Media. You know them, delivering very important local news weekly, right here in your own backyard. Familiar and reliable friends like the Beaumont and Banning paper, the Record Gazette, the Fontana Herald, the Yucaipa Calamasa News Mirror. The Redlands Community News is open for business and continues to deliver weekly. Check out their latest edition coming this Friday and each and every Friday happily ever after. You can find your local news at redlandscommunitynews.com. And congratulations to their new editor and longtime friend, Rachel Gustafson.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Here we are, the Worker Power Hour. Long-time organizer, first-time radio host. I get to use this rookie status for quite some time. At the end of the day, I'm going to claim the fact that it's taken me a while to get used to it, just because I'm just starting out. This is a very fun adventure. But long-time organizer, first-time radio host, Randy Corrigan here with the Worker Power Hour. Got a lot of good guests today. As a matter of fact, we just came off of our first 2-hour show last week. I got Victor Maneros, who's sitting here staring at me, questioning me, because he actually used to work in radio, and we're going to have him on as a guest later on. And he's going to get out his little cue card and judge whether or not how we did and what we should do wrong. I'll get the report from him after we're all done, right, Victor? That's right. So with that, we had a great show last week. It was great to have Lou Villavasso on, as well as Gigi from Habitat to Humanity. Just as a reminder, at the store, the discount store for Habitat for Humanity, it's a 10% discount as part of our Teamster Advantage network, and couldn't have a better organization to be partnered with. It's like 3 layers of being positive, doing something with the community, get a discount on top of it. The organization then helps people with housing. So, Gigi, we really appreciate you, and I think it was John that came on and participated and explained your program and talked to all of our listeners on how great Habitat for Humanity is. And then we had, again, a repeat. We had our first 2-hour show. We're going to be now doing 2-hour shows. I'll tell you that as soon as we were done, I felt like I had this huge headache, and trying to actually stay live for 2 straight hours was a challenge for me. And I actually didn't think I did very well on the show, and I really appreciate everybody's feedback saying that they enjoyed actually it being a 2-hour show, and they thought that there was a lot of really good content. So thanks for all that feedback, and if you don't like it, please don't tell me. Just kidding. We only want to hear the good stuff, right? No, I really appreciate the feedback from everybody. And Lou came on, and before Lou came on, we actually had one of our members who is a 911 dispatcher. She did a phenomenal job, Joy Reen, coming on and talking about the challenges of being a dispatcher and how important that job is and that role is to the local community. She obviously shared some good stories, some challenging stories, but she really, it's amazing to hear from people that important, especially in your most difficult time or your immediate need, crisis moment. You dial 911. Someone like Joy Reen is on the other side, walking you through to save lives. And those are Teamsters doing that every single day. In the Inland Empire, it's very likely if you dial 911, it's going to be a Teamster who's answering the phone. handling that for you. So Joyreen, really great job. A lot of positive feedback again from you being on the show and the community getting to learn that sort of job in a little more detail. We don't talk about that kind of stuff enough. Listeners, the community as a whole just doesn't get to absorb or hear about the importance of if the community doesn't get to hear that enough and how important that role is, especially when you dial 911, especially when you dial 911. And then we had Lou on that was talking about the Smart and Final boycott. We discussed the difference between boycott and strike and direct action. Lou did a really good job of explaining what those workers have been going through, the challenges that they face, how courageous they are. Also pointing out how supportive the community has been and what you can do. And it's just a reminder of what you could do. If you're going to go to the grocery store anytime here in the near future, before you go to Staters or Ralph's or Vaughn's or wherever you go, stop in at Smart and Final and then just tell them, well, you guys have a labor dispute going on. We're going to go to actually another store until you get that resolved. Really easy for you to do, but that's very impactful for the manager at a particular store. They feel like they lose business. I'm not trying to be deceitful, but it's a good reminder. It's a great reminder on how the community can coalesce around workers, especially with a greedy corporation like that. These corporations that are buying corporations and getting bigger and bigger, just making it hard for the average person to kind of get by. Lou, thank you very much for coming on, and really appreciate you sharing in great detail that story. And obviously, Lou and I have known each other for a very long period of time. The next part of our show is live shout-outs. I actually, as this show becomes more popular, obviously there's more people listening than the live shout-outs, but the list is getting long to read off. And I'm going to start here by Amy from DAS listening live. Really appreciate that. Del Rosa TAD, which is the Transitional Assistance Department for the County of San Bernardino and Ontario, TAD are listening in live. San Bernardino County Fire Steward Ben Wurtzel, he's a dedicated listener, and I was reminded that he is a dedicated listener. As a matter of fact, he's got it saved in his podcasts in his car, and hopefully that's where he's listening right now on his way home, or maybe he's listening while he's finishing out his day. Celine Cruz and her co-workers in the value-based program at ARMC, I believe it is. Warren Pennington from Desert Water Agency. Warren, I'm going to actually see you at 5 o'clock. Hopefully I'll be there by 5. If you're listening right now live, actually you are listening live, that's why you're on this list. I may be running a few minutes late because I got to wrap the show up and I got to beeline over there as soon as I can to Palm Desert. And I know I'll be there as soon as I can. For those of you who don't know, Desert Water Agency just voted to affiliate with Teamsters Local 1932. We are closing out the final steps at helping them transition to become Teamsters here in the next few months. Next is Kurt Garrison and his co-workers at the Crime Lab for San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Sharon Vinci at the Sheriff's Fingerprint Unit. And then we have Brenda Boyd Bell listening in live from New York. Brenda, I love you. Just got to see you here recently at the Women's Conference by popular demand. From what I understand, you're going to be back for our Women's Conference at the local union in September. And thanks for listening in live all the way from New York. What a tremendous individual Brenda is. Felicia Garcia, Utilities Department. I'm not sure which utilities that is. Karina Perez, Real Estate Services and Finance. Rebecca Madrid Duran, Real Estate Services. Carrie Piper, Clerical Support Services. Denaire Figueroa, County Counsel. All right, and you get the attorneys in there. Make sure that they understand what's going on too. Make sure you educate them on why it's important to be in the union environment. James Perdue from the Child Support Services Administration. Jacqueline Perez, Supervising Child Support Officer. Arcelia Ayala from Child Support Services Administration. Jeanette Bayaro, if I butcher this, my apologies, Child Support Service Administration. I got a few people laughing at me over butchering it. Don't make me feel nervous. Anyway, Travis Green from Land Development. Nicole Scales, Automated Services. Amaris Flores from Environmental Health Services. Evelyn Evelyn Arambuka. I probably butchered that one too. My apologies, Evelyn. I'll try to clean that up next week if you're listening live. Clerical Support Services, Linda Rojas from Clerical Support Services. Maritza Quinones. I know Maritza, how you doing? Clerical Support Services. Tamara Perez at the morgue. Yes, we do represent members at the San Bernardino County Morgue. That is how diverse we are as an organization. That is a long shout out, and I apologize. We missed a big group of them from a few weeks ago because we actually lost our ability to be live on the air because of the internet went down, and obviously it's an internet-based system, and so that entire group that we just read off was part of that. The next part of the show is Teamster Jobs. Really like to talk about Teamster Jobs every week. Most people don't realize that Teamsters represent everything from airline pilots to zookeepers. And our 3 Teamster jobs this week are centered on the city of Redlands. These are 3 specific jobs that are done in the city of Redlands. Again, shout out to Carlos Gonzalez for always making sure that we have our 3 Teamster jobs every single week. And this is one of the favorite parts of the show for everybody. They love the details of these little things that get done every day around us. And sometimes we just don't realize it's a Teamster that made sure that happened. So in the city of Redlands, asphalt workers, they lay asphalt to construct, resurface, and repair roads, streets, parking lots, and other paved surfaces within the city of Redlands. See, this is one of my favorite departments because all the complaints come in about this department only when you hit a pothole. You never know when you did not hit a pothole because it got fixed. And you have thousands and thousands of potholes that get fixed on a regular basis that our members are fixing every single day. And the next one is our sign and paint workers responsible for designing, creating, and assembling various types of signs, including street signs, traffic signs, directional signs, and informational signs. So next time you're driving through Redlands and you see a street sign or any city sign, it was Teamsters that made sure that those signs were painted, that they got up, and that they got posted. The next is solid waste truck drivers in the city of Redlands. Those that drive, they do special waste pickup, commercial collection, residential collection. Essentially the trash man or trash lady that is picking up your trash. Thank a Teamster. Make sure that you recognize that it's Teamsters that make sure that you get your water, especially in the city of Redlands. You make sure you get your water, and they also take away your trash. And clearly when you flush your toilet, that goes away too, and that is thanks to a bunch of Teamsters. So thank you, Teamsters. Our entire Thank a Teamster platform is obviously all over the Inland Empire, and you can see it on buses and billboards. And what we're doing is just bringing back an old message from many, many years ago, and we really appreciate what Teamsters do every day to make our community go around. Next part of the show is some news. I want to talk about there's a lot of activity going on, and I think the thing that sticks out the most, a lot of people are talking about, is this Canadian Rail Workers Union mounts a legal challenge to the arbitrator's back to work order. So again, here you have a situation where workers are trying to stand up, withhold their labor, and exercise the fact that their employer is not respecting their rights. And then, you obviously get this messy dispute, and it turns out that they want to, try to force them back to work. And so the Canadian arbitrator appointed to resolve the messy railroad labor dispute to protect the North American economy has ordered employees at the country's 2 major railroads back to work so both can try to resume operating. Clearly, the withdrawal of labor has gotten everybody's attention there in Canada, and go Teamsters, and obviously go workers in Canada to make sure that you stand together and stay in solidarity. The railroad companies are refusing to meet demands over schedules and paid sick time for workers. Canadian Teamsters were locked out and left to deal with an appointed Canadian arbitrator who basically said that workers have to go back to work. And so obviously this is going to continue to escalate, and we're behind those workers, and we want to make sure that we stand in solidarity with them. The next thing I want to talk about is the Amazon. There's obviously a tremendous amount of energy around Amazon, and Amazon says that U.S. labor watchdog that filed labor charges violates the Constitution. What that means in very simple terms is the National Labor Relations Board that has actually filed some charges against Amazon for violating the rules, has challenged the decisions to a degree of calling the NLRB unconstitutional. So imagine that. Amazon, one of the biggest companies in the world, is trying to take a position that the NLRB and these decisions are unconstitutional because this organization is built to try to protect workers. This is how far corporations will go to undermine workers coming together. And as more and more workers at Amazon are coming together and demanding respect on the job and demanding change and demanding that they bargain. Matter of fact, with Victor on here in a bit, we're going to talk in detail about some of the stuff that's going around in this space and the amazing work that these workers are doing across the entire country, to a degree that Amazon is like, oh, well, it's unconstitutional for these decisions to come down like they do. Well, who else is there to regulate these massive corporations that are literally trying to, really take out? They're really trying to take out, middle class, and they're negatively affecting our middle class operation. What you got there? Shout out to members going to the Amazon rally tomorrow. Yes, and you can watch live on Teamsters.org. Is it Teamster.org or Teamsters.org? It's actually Teamster.org. You'll be able to live stream what we're doing tomorrow in Long Beach on Teamster.org. There'll be a live stream event. So Amazon workers and all Teamsters in Southern California are going to be doing a day of action in Long Beach. We'll have the General President, O'Brien, as well as we're going to have Adam Schiff, and we're going to have Bonta and a number of other elected officials there that are going to agree and or discuss policy that can be put in place to protect these workers in Amazon. And clearly Amazon is just trying to run everybody over, and they think that they're obviously big enough to just kind of get away with it. And so I can go on for hours regarding Amazon, but I think just the fact that they're going to try to deem the NLRB being unconstitutional just kind of tells you where they are on the subject. The next thing on the news I think it's really important to report is that the labor union approval rate is at extreme high, which means the flip side is that the disapproval rate is at it's 57-year low. It's not been this low since 67. So it's great to see that labor unions are at over 70% right now. That the average worker, the average person supports labor unions higher than it's been in a very long time. And you may ask why. Why is that the case? Well, part of it is corporations have been so greedy in the last few decades that they just can't help themselves, and they keep going a little further and making you pay more for your health care, making you pay more for your, sometimes just straight up eliminating your retirement vehicle. And so more and more workers are recognizing the need to have collective bargaining, the need to have a union. And as much criticism as the youth gets, the youth is actually the youngest generation that just entered the workforce is actually the most supportive out of all of the generations currently right now that are working in America. And so shout out to you, youth, and those of you 25 and under within the workforce that are very supportive of unions. And I think what's happening is they're entering the workforce and they're realizing the challenges at first entering the workforce are very different. I know when I first entered the workforce, it was easy for me to find a job that was middle class, that you're talking 1989, that was middle class and I could rent an apartment, buy a home, buy a vehicle. There were aplenty. And now somebody goes into the workforce right out of high school, there's not as many of those opportunities as there was many years ago. So corporations have really become so greedy over the last few decades, and they've taken too much off the table that obviously the result of that is workers are like, hey, we obviously need a union. Now, whether corporations are doing a good job or not, what we should realize is that we should always want to have a union contract, because even if my company is a great company and does a great job, tomorrow they could be sold in a second. And then the company or the investment group or the private equity group or whomever it is that's purchasing could have a totally different agenda. And now guess what? Everything you thought that great owner was going to do for the rest of your career is now gone. And quite frankly, it's not just because you organize and you gain a union contract at work, it's not an affront to your employer. You want employers, a good Teamster, a good union member is a hard worker to help make the employer profitable and productive, as well as protecting the workforce. And there's got to be the proper balance. And it doesn't have to always be, I guess, an antagonistic situation. There are that way at times, clearly. And at least when an employer oversteps their boundaries, it's good to have a union and it's good to have a collective bargaining agreement to fall back on, even if you think your employer is great. And so the next item I'd like to talk about is big tech, maybe focusing on its lobbying to push on California AI safety bill. And the last stop is obviously Gavin Newsom. This is a huge issue. AI is an enormous issue in California and quite frankly the world. The way AI is starting to kind of get into the workforce, eliminate jobs. Let's talk about just driving. AI. Yeah, Rick, I'm actually going to delay a little bit on my break. So it's kind of cool having your own show. Guess what you get to do? You get to actually put the break where you want. So appreciate the reminder though. Point is on AI. Imagine a big rig being driven by AI and something that heavy, something that big, and not having an actual human being making sure that it goes where it's got to go. You hear all these stories of these little robots and stuff, getting lost and making a little wrong turn. I mean, imagine that being a big rig, or imagine that being a vehicle or a car. Clearly, that is what is coming, and it's very important for us to pay attention to that. And I know a lot of unions right now, we're dealing with this where we're inserting contractual language to deal with it. We're asking policymakers at cities and local governments to start to take a position on the subject. And it's really important to make sure that we don't go so far with technology that we do two things. One, give up all of our jobs. And two, we abandon real safety, because you cannot replace human ingenuity, nor can you replace the reaction skills of a human being when it comes to being able to logically make decisions in very important situations. And so it's really important for us to continue to address this. A lot of unions, as I said, are addressing this in a lot of different ways. Clearly, I know the Teamsters, we're at odds with Gavin Newsom on this subject, and we've been big, strong tug of war back and forth about this subject, and we don't think it should be as aggressive as some elected leaders do. We think there's got to be some protections. And the good thing is we do have a lot of local elected officials that support us on this and are willing to pass ordinances or policy within those particular areas to literally protect the community, not just protect jobs. We definitely got to protect the jobs too, but also it's about protecting the community. And so with that actually kicks me over to let me get here and make sure I get my notes together. Just a quick reminder, the member picnic for Teamsters 1932 is September 28th. For those of you that are listening and haven't signed up and plan to attend, make sure you RSVP. You got to go to our website, find the RSVP link, and make sure that you RSVP. Also, we actually had a big surge last week from RSVPs for the women's conference on September 14th. Just another reminder, if you're interested in attending, make sure that you sign up for that as well. Robert, is there anything else I needed to report on, or are we good? All right. Here's the next part of the show that is particularly my favorite, because it showcases the Teamster Advantage program. And the Teamster Advantage program is a program that we built that has more than 1,000 small businesses connected to our network within the Inland Empire, and it does stretch into Orange County and Los Angeles as well. And what's great about it is that we have a system where we work with small business and we help promote them, we help advertise them within Teamsters Local 1932 and Local 63. And then our members get these cool discounts with small business, and it's a reminder of the awareness of how difficult it is to be a small business owner. We see small business owners as no different than the working class. Everybody's just trying to raise their kids, get the kids to soccer practice or baseball practice, and pay the mortgage, pay the rent, just kind of try to get by day to day. And so we built this Teamster Advantage program so that it would be a win-win-win. And it would be awareness around the community to shop local, number one. Number two, small businesses would benefit from clearly our market share and our ability to have the connections that we do with nearly 30,000 members, actually over 30,000 members now with our growth, and over 100,000 individuals. That's a lot of buying power. And also, make sure that small business can survive, especially in this very competitive environment when it comes to corporate America. And so with that, I'm actually joined by a brand new, actually in the last 30 days, we have a new Teamster Advantage partner. Why don't you tell us about your business? Introduce yourself and your business.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dominique Gonzalez. My business is Domi the Esty. I am a licensed esthetician and certified body sculptor. So I have been in business officially for 1 year now. Just recently signed up to be part of the Teamsters Business Advantage, and I'm super grateful for that program because Randy's 100% right. It's super hard being a small business owner and trying to get that advertising out to really get your business out there and promote it, especially in the local areas maybe that you're not that familiar with. My business is out of Rancho Cucamonga. I am new to the neighborhood within the last year, but very much love the community, love to be involved with the community. Been to a couple of the Rancho Chamber Commerce events, and also partnered with a counseling solutions company recently to do a back-to-school drive for the communities in Rancho Cucamonga, the families out there, for the kids to just really have a good time and be confident going back to school.
So Rancho Cucamonga is a big town, and I remember when it was called Etowanda, by the way, before it was Rancho Cucamonga, and it was just Cucamonga and Etowanda in Alta Loma. And so obviously now it's Rancho Cucamonga. So where in Rancho Cucamonga are you?
So I am located off of Carnelian and Baseline, so closer to the 210 freeway off of Carnelian. Take it straight down, and you'll hit the plaza there. I am actually located inside of a counseling office as well. So it's kind of cool to be able to tell my clients, like, yeah, by day we help you, with all of your mental problems and, counseling and all the things that, you need on the inside. And then by night and weekend, we turn into now you feel good inside, we're going to make you feel good outside too, So that's kind of what I like to tell my clients.
So for all of us people that don't know what an esthetician is, describe it. What is it?
So as an esthetician, I am basically a skin therapist. So I am able to perform not advanced treatments like dermatologists. That's obviously for a different bracket. But I can do things like facials, advanced facials using some machineries and higher level of chemicals. Of course, well-trained, and really give people the opportunity to learn how to truly care for their skin and take care of their skin, especially with the huge rise in skin cancer, unfortunately. It's really nice to be able to promote, like, being skin aware and the commonality of it and how easily we can all avoid it, which is sunscreen, by the way.
Yes. Something that some of us are really bad at putting on sometimes.
Yes.
So simple, so easy. We're so stubborn.
Yes.
So what's the Teamster Advantage discount?
So I offer a 10% off discount to every service that I offer, excluding our packages. And then I do also offer 15% off for all new clients. So all new clients will get 15% off, and then after that, 10% off every service that you would like to return and continue getting.
Now that's a great discount for Teamsters. Once again, Teamsters being able to have a little bit of advantage as a result. That's why we called it Teamster Advantage. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Any funny stories? I can imagine some funny things with that.
Yeah. So actually, it was my grand opening. I actually did a pre-grand opening where I exclusively only did it for my family and friends as a thank you to supporting me throughout my school journey and the journey of, opening the business. And funny enough, they all showed up and I was like, great, you guys are all going to get free services, hang out in the lobby area, have snacks, drinks, and call you back one by one.
Did they tear up the joint?
They did not. But what actually happened is I realized my steamer was broken, like one of the main parts that is everyone's favorite part of the facial. And so everyone was bummed out, but they were still trying to be supportive and, oh, it's okay, it's the steam towels are still good. And I'm like, it's okay, thanks guys.
They were humoring you.
Yeah, definitely.
So I hear you're related to a Teamster?
Yeah, so my uncle is actually Carlos Gonzalez. I know he works with you out of your office. And
we know the guy.
Yeah, I think you might have heard his name here and there. But yeah, so he actually does also come and get services from me as well, and it's super cool.
I can tease him at the office?
Yeah, actually, he loves the services. He loves getting the facials. But I actually do a lot of men's services. People are quite surprised that I actually have a good amount of men clientele. But it's so good to see men also getting that little bit of self-care and that little bit of pampering that, and I don't make a big fuss out of it, and I try to keep it, somewhat masculine for them too. I don't do any very fruity smelling things or anything like that.
Yeah, the flowery stuff gives me a headache.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So
the certain sense, it's, not whether it's, to me, it's not whether it's feminine or masculine, it's more of the
intense smell.
One. Yeah, I'm like, shut that off.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
There's some stores when you're walking through the mall, I'm like, can I go the opposite way?
Yeah, you're like, I'm 10 stores down, and I could still smell the smell.
That's overwhelming. Any other funny stories you want to share?
Actually, if you go on my Instagram, which is Dami the SD, you'll actually see I have a highlights of facials, and I do save. I personally, my favorite part of the facials is extractions. And so, sorry, Uncle, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit more. The more gnarlier ones are definitely from my uncle, his extractions. But I love extractions, so if you're an extraction lover like me, definitely go on there. There's some good ones. And I love to post them because, like I said, they are my favorite part.
Is that like that show Pimple Popper or something?
Yeah. I don't show the process. I just show the results of what we're able to get out. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to connect to Carlos. And the whole staff is listening right now. Yeah. I love it. Carlos is all thanks.
Yeah, definitely. It's okay. He's tough. I know he could take it.
Yes, he can. He definitely has thick skin.
Yeah.
Literally thick skin. So, anything else you want to cover before we wrap up and go to break?
I do also offer body sculpting services or body contouring. So
can you make me skinny?
I can. A lot of people do come to me for that service, slimming. And we've got some really great results also posted on the Instagram page there.
You just put a garter on me, or what do they call that, where you kind of strap it in?
No, I don't have that one. It's the EMS machine, that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I do have the more basic one, but it still gets a lot of really great results. That one uses sound and heat waves to burst the fat cells and
it just
liquefy them. Yeah, and you just let them out.
Can I have one of those at the house?
Not to the extent of what we have, but definitely I think they have some at-home versions.
I got to jump in one of those and hang out in it for a while. Come out looking like a new person.
Start now. You'll be ready for summer 2025.
Yeah, exactly. So Dominique, right? Dominique, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Dominique, really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate you as a small business owner, having the courage to get out there and make something happen. It's a small business community that really connects the community in a lot of ways. And, with that, our Teamster Advantage program really appreciates you and the discount that you do. With that, we're going to take a real quick break. See you on the other side of the break.
Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by Union Power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org. Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org. One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224. Are you looking for a good union job? The Inland Empire's 14,000-member-strong Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get working people trained and placed in open positions in public service clerical work and in jobs in the logistics industry. This is a new opportunity to advance your career and raise standards across the region. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
Chaka 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 Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, Chaka Khan. Let me rock it, that's all I wanna do. Chaka Khan, let me rock it, Chaka Khan.
All right, back on the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan. It is KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM. Let's bring my mic down just a notch, just a bit. Thank you. Perfect. Up just a little bit. Right. I think that's perfect right there. Anyway, long time organizer, first time radio host, so I get to try to figure all this out. I'm joined after the break by Ken Lutz here. He is a San Bernardino County Sheriff's Captain, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Ken came out to our hiring event that the training center and Sherry put on. Sherry Oriana, which is one of our business agents at the local union, represents a lot of law enforcement personnel and law enforcement support personnel. They put on an event to hire folks who are interested in a career in public safety, and Ken was obviously very helpful with that. Plus, I know Ken's not a member of ours, but Ken deals with a lot of our members clearly in the sheriff's department itself. And so we wanted Ken to come on and talk about the training center and a number of other things, and also showcase how important this part of your job and this part of the community is. So with that, you want to introduce yourself, Ken?
Most definitely. Yeah, Ken Lutz. I've been full-time with the department 33 years. I volunteered for 9 years prior to that. I was on our union board for 20 years, representing the Deputy Sheriff's Union, and have moved myself up from deputy up to where I'm a commander now. I have the Victor Valley Station covering the High Desert. Prior to that, I was the commander of the High Desert Detention Center. So I went from one of the largest commands at the jail to one of the largest areas that we serve. So I've had a lot of experience with our professional staff, our Teamsters members, and the importance that we as deputies can't do our job without our professional staff. People don't understand that.
Yeah, we try to remind everybody all the time, like, that's how important those jobs are. Like, you can't, if we don't recognize the support staff around us in the right way, the reality is none of the work actually gets done. So what are some of those jobs in those support staff positions?
Well, you brought it up earlier. Our dispatchers, our call intake, that's where it begins. That's one of the most vital, but also one of the most demanding jobs that we have, because they're trying to calm down someone in an emergency situation to be able to get the information that a deputy can use. The bad part is they also hear you at your worst, and they don't always know what the outcome is. And sometimes they hear some really traumatic information. But we go from them, they dispatch to the deputies. Then when the deputies get done with the incident, they have to create a report. Well, if it wasn't for a professional staff making the deputies sound really good in that report, it doesn't get to the district attorney in a good manner. And that. Then we have our forensic techs, our property officers, our motor pool officers, our sheriff's service specialists. All these are support positions in patrol. In the jail, we have our sheriff's custody assistants. They're the ones that handle the citizens when they come in. Sheriff's custody specialists. There are guards, our eyes and ears and safety for the deputies. You have your sheriff's cooks, which God knows we love a sheriff's cook.
Especially the good ones, right?
Oh, they can
Are there
cook.
good ones and bad ones?
No, we
Are they
never
all
have
good?
a bad one because it's always a good meal.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, no, they can cook. I'm an example. I used to weigh 145 pounds. So, yeah, they can be amazing cooks. But then you go all the way to our coroner's professionals and that, which has to sometimes see us at the worst and that. Earlier in the year, I had the 6 homicides out in El Mirage, where 6 persons were ambushed in a drug-related incident. Well, you have crime scene techs out there that are not deputies, but they see some of the most horrendous things, and they're professional. They get out there.
And
they
those
do
are
what they need.
Teamsters that are doing that work.
100%.
Yes.
They are Teamsters. I brought up a list of possible jobs we can go over later, but every Tuesday on sheriffsjobs.org, they're switching it over. Our jobs are posted on there, and almost all of them, except for sheriff's deputy, deputy sheriff or deputy sheriff trainee, they're all Teamsters jobs. Accountants, we need accountants like crazy. We need professional staff, our clerical staff. We are hiring. So get that, public. The Sheriff's Department of San Bernardino County is hiring like crazy. We have the jobs. We have the money.
All right, list the jobs.
Just
because sometimes people don't realize, like an accounting job, that the Sheriff's Department needs an accounting job.
Right.
That they need an office assistant. They need all of these support jobs that the department itself needs to operate.
Yeah, they got to understand the sheriff's budget is now $1 billion. That doesn't happen by mistake. So people think of the deputy sheriff, the person in uniform, but it's the entire staff behind us. So we have accountant auditor that's open, contract analyst, forensic specialist, forensic pathologist, licensed vocational nurse. We have our own nurses.
You have your own
separate from
nurses,
accounting.
correct?
Yeah, we have our own nurses in that. Motor pool services assistant, office assistants, polygraph examiner. That's another one people
Lie
don't think about.
detectors, yeah.
Lie detectors. Radiology technologist, senior accountant, systems and analyst. We have an entire IT division of our own, things like that. And communication dispatchers like crazy. We are looking for people to staff our communication centers. And so we're having a hiring bonanza. Just go to our sheriff's website and please take it serious. We have those positions.
Ken, you got any funny stories? And look, I know you got plenty of crazy, tough stories because that's just the nature of the beast of being in the sheriff's department. But you got to have some funny stuff that's clean enough to say on the radio, because we are live on the radio. And just a reminder, it's KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour. This is what we have to do because of FCC regulations, and we're live on the air, and we have to remind everybody that it's live.
See, we've got with technology, ours is in the subcarrier, so we don't have to say it every hour.
Okay.
So technology is always a friend.
Yeah.
A lot of it, because of the nature of the job, we have to keep confidentiality in a lot of the things. But the
You
staff,
don't have to tell names. We won't tell anybody,
Even
we
the
promise.
incidences we have to be careful with. But the staff does come across some strange things, strange phone calls, people calling our dispatch centers and telling us that somebody's in their house staring at them, and actually it's a knotty pine wood in the cabin area, or you go to the call and the person's on the roof with a hubcap on their head for the laser beams, things like that.
I love the ones last week that Joyreen, she brought up two of them that just stuck with me. One was somebody reported a kidnapping, and the kidnapping was the person left in a white vehicle with a shield on the side, and they were being arrested.
They're being arrested.
And that was, no, they're being, but the
Yeah.
person didn't want to go. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when someone gets arrested.
We get that. We get the medical aid that my child's dying, and it turns out to be their pet, which for some of us that are animal, lovers, that's important. But
I understand that, but that's not a 911 call.
it's not a
right?
911 call. Yeah, 911 is human life first.
Yeah.
And everything else you can just call the regular dispatch number.
The other story she told last week, and I'm sorry for repeating this for people to listen, but it was just great. Someone didn't pay their power. They only paid half their power bill, and they called 911 because they wanted the cops to turn on half the power.
Oh, they do that. They go in the drive-through at stores, at McDonald's or different restaurants, and don't get it their way, and they're calling and demanding that we get it their way. And I'm sorry,
I want
it's
my
a civil
Whopper
problem.
with mayonnaise on it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's your civil problem.
Yes, yes.
So we get that, but who takes that phone call? The dispatcher.
Our dispatcher
The call
does,
and
that's
take.
correct.
And they have to take that with professionalism and sincerity and put the call in, and the deputy has to go out. And now that we have body-worn cameras, there's all transparency. And the staff is doing a great job with the body-worn cameras. But then we have our professional staff on the backside that has to review the body-worn cameras, and our lawyers and things like that. So the variety of jobs available in the department, and you go beyond the sheriff's department, you go to the county of San Bernardino, and they have a multitude. You were reading off some of them. I was glad when you read off your list that none of my staff was currently listing at this time. So that was good. I knew they were being very productive.
So is there any other stories you want to share, anything before we wrap up this part of the show? We really appreciate, first of all, your service to the community. We appreciate, we really get a lot of positive feedback as far as your relationship with our members. You seem to be pretty fair.
Good, thank you.
Obviously, if you're not, someone's going to actually send me an email when this is over.
Yes, they will.
And tell me, Randy, no, he's not fair. But for the most part, our staff is been very complimentary of you. And it's important for anybody in a supervisory or management position to obviously work well with the group. So we really appreciate that, and we appreciate your service. Anything you want to close on before we transition?
With everything, the employees got to feel valued, respected, and appreciated. We want people that are going to do a great job for service to the people of San Bernardino County. We're looking for people that are going to do that. When I was with the union for the sheriff's deputies union, it's the same thing we wanted. We wanted our union members to provide a good service and that. So we're looking, just like yourself, good Teamsters, good safety employee benefit members that want to provide service to this county, because we do have the greatest county there is in this county.
And
as
the
a
biggest.
state. And the big in the contiguous United States.
In the contiguous United States,
Yeah,
right.
people forget that little word.
That's
but-
okay. When you say you're the biggest, you don't have to say the other stuff.
I know, but you want to be honest.
Technical, right? Just
Yeah.
a technical
Technical terms, yes.
Well, once
We
again,
appreciate it.
really appreciate you coming on, and thanks for your service. And what we're going to do now is, this is always a little awkward for me, and how I have to transition in the middle. So can you give me just a little bit of music so I can mute, and then I can switch it out real quick?
Chaka Khan, Shaka Khan, let me rock it, Shaka Khan. Let me rock it, that's all I wanna do. Shaka Khan, let me rock it, Shaka Khan. Let me rock it, got a feel for you. Shaka Khan, what you tell me what you wanna do? Do you feel for me the way I feel for you? Shaka Khan, let me tell you what I wanna do. I wanna love you, wanna hug you, wanna squeeze you too. And let me take it in my arms, let me feel you with my charm, Shaka. Cause you know that I'm the one that keep you warm, Shaka. I make it more than just a physical dream. I wanna rock you, Shaka, let you make me wanna scream. Let me rock it, rock it.
All right, here we are back with Randy Corcoran, the Worker Power Hour. Now that we've done this 2-hour time slot, the way we switch the guest, we have it's a little fumbly here in this process, and I'm trying to figure out how to smooth it out. But, I have this old radio expert now with me, Victor Mineros. Vic and I have known each other obviously a very long time, and I really appreciate you coming on. One of the things I love about Vic is he's an organizer at heart, and that's actually where we started to build a pretty good relationship with one another. And you do a great job, Vic. Appreciate you coming on. We got a lot to talk about. What we're going to do is we're going to talk for a few minutes. I'm going to go to I have a mandatory break at the top of the hour, and then we'll come back, and we got plenty of time to talk through all this amazing stuff that's going on. Why don't you introduce yourself and what an amazing individual you are.
Thank you, Randy. I've known you
and
for
listen to that
decades
radio
now.
voice. Isn't that
I don't know about radio voice. I was telling Randy and sharing with some of the staff here at the station that I used to work for a radio station back when I was a part-timer at UPS and work at the radio station. It was an AM station. I was a promotional guy, but I was learning the board. I was just...
So you can come in and fill in for Marky Poo?
Yeah, I can probably do it.
We call him Marky Poo, right?
Marky Poo, there you go. But I was telling Mark, it was when I was doing it or learning from the engineers, it was carts back then. So we were slamming carts in and out. I mean, now it's all computerized. It just got a little too fancy for me. But no, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate you. Don't forget your call letters at top of the hour.
Yeah. Well, actually, I did them in this, but I'll do it again. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM.
Boom.
Randy Corgan in the Worker Power Hour.
There you go. Now you drop.
Mineros.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited about being here. I mean, we've been friends for decades now, and damn, it's been a long time. I think I had a little bit of hair at that point when we first met.
I think we both had hair, right?
Exactly.
Actually, I don't know if I had hair when we met. I think I've been shaving my head for quite some time.
Yeah, same here. I used to shave it when I had hair. Now look at me.
Yeah,
and now I'm a grandpa too. So
I know, me too.
Sure.
4 times over. This is my fourth
one.
Well, congratulations,
grandpa.
Vic.
Thank you. I appreciate you. So
boy or girl?
Boy, Mason.
Boy. All
Mason.
right.
Yes, I'm excited about him. Teach him how to be a good union man, and he's already been to his first union meeting.
There you go. So
excited.
You're principal officer of 396.
Correct. We're out in Covina. We represent members. Majority UPS. We have about close to 10,000 members of UPS, a little bit over, and we also have sanitation. We are the largest sanitation local, and we will be the largest Amazon local too.
Well, technically, you are the largest Amazon local right now.
Well, there you go. Exactly, because of the first
48. Because of the first one, right?
84.
That's right. Yeah, the first 84.
Correct. So.
And for those of you that don't know, this is Local 396. This is the first group of workers that organized. We got a contract in Palmdale. They've been obviously on strike and extending their picket and demanding that Amazon recognize them through direct action. And it has sparked energy all over the country. We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. But why don't you give a quick history, because we got, I think, 4 minutes, right? 4 minutes, right on the nose?
4 minutes. Is that enough for me,
Where did
Mark?
you start off as?
So I started
UPS
back
person.
in UPS. I was, I came out of college. I got a job. I was going to school. And
you went to college?
Well, a little
I don't
bit.
believe you.
I did. I did. But then, a buddy of mine is like, hey, UPS has a recruitment downstairs. You want to go check it out? And I was like, okay. So I went with him. We both applied, and he didn't get the job. I did. It was the funniest thing.
You gave up your radio job for UPS.
No, I was actually working at the radio and UPS
At the
together.
same time.
It was a part-time job, and I was doing promotions there at an famous AM station.
You can say it. Is it still on the air?
No, it's. I don't know if it's on the air.
KRLA, one of the greatest radio stations. Wig Martindale was there.
Yeah, you can
Robert
say it.
W. Morgan.
Oh yeah, Art LeBeau, Huggy,
exactly.
Huggy boy.
It was a big station. Wink's over in Palm Springs now, but he was a big shot on KR and Bob Eubanks too.
Right,
KRLA
there you go,
brought
Bob
the
Eubanks.
Beatles
I remember
Bob
that.
Eubanks.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I remember
my,
all of
flash to the
that.
past.
I mean, it's I grew up with all of that stuff. So then I became a package handler, a preloader at UPS in Baldwin Park, which we call it San Gabe. And over the years, it just became. I was working at the radio station. I was working at UPS, and I get fired. I don't have a union background like my dad wasn't a union man, but I get fired, and wrongfully so. I get my job back, and I got involved. I got involved in in organizing workers, and here I am today. I went from driving a truck to organizing waste workers around the country. So I loved it. Waste to
I know
me.
we used to have fun.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we still do have fun. But,
all the time.
But
I mean,
that kind of
good-
fun was fun.
Oh, if you remember, if we can only say some of the stories on
We
here.
can't tell all of them,
Yeah,
please.
we can't tell them all. But yeah, so I'm always an organizer at heart. I think it is the most important job in our organization because it's what sustains us and keeps us alive. It protects the future.
Mm-hmm.
It protects my Mason, my grandson, something for him to have later on in life, him, his friends, his cousins, whoever it is. That's what we're doing is for him. But I'm really happy to be on the show. Thank you very much. Excited and
you do have a good radio voice.
I don't know about
You
all that.
do. Like I think I got a new co-host here.
There you go. There you go. I can do it too. I just have to drive a couple hours to Redlands out here.
Well, we'll actually be able to do some of our shows remotely here pretty soon. But
I'm excited.
we got about 90 seconds before we get to break. But organizing, I know for both of us, has always been at the heart of all the work that we do. We're going to talk obviously more about that on the other side of the hour. But I do want to say this, Vic. I've always appreciated your approach to being grounded in that.
Thank you.
Especially somebody like myself who has kind of always occupied that space, and I haven't always kind of got along with everybody as a result of that. Because as an organizer, we're always agitating, we're always kind of pushing, and not everybody's always comfortable with that. So
Right.
I do want to say just quickly, how much I appreciate that over all your years.
Appreciate you, man.
Well, they're
Thank
just
you.
playing the music. We still got another 45 seconds, right? Yeah. See, these guys are not even paying attention to me. Actually, got 30 seconds, and so I'm trying to get used to this music slowly coming up while we're talking. It's
All
the
right.
first. It's a long-time organizer, first-time radio host, rookie status.
There
stuff.
you go. So you got to have the drops and all that. Once I become your co-host, I'll get you. You won't even have to say that. We can talk over the music. So we just do it. It's going to be perfection.
There you go. All right, well, we're going to come back after the news at the top of the hour. With that, we'll see you on the other side of the break.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Former President Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, are holding events in swing states this week. Trump is set to hold a town hall in Wisconsin tomorrow and will speak at a rally in Pennsylvania on Friday. Meanwhile, Vance is set to speak at rallies in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin today. Elsewhere, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, will kick off a bus tour in the battleground state of Georgia later this afternoon, with a rally scheduled for tomorrow in Savannah. Harris is under Republican scrutiny for including her VP pick in her first interview since announcing her run for president. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders claims Democrats think Harris can't handle a one-on-one interview.
It's clear that her own team and her own party think she needs a babysitter, and that's why they're putting her vice presidential nominee on the stage with her.
Republicans also question why the interview needs to be pre-taped. Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are set to sit with CNN in an interview to air at 9 p.m. Eastern Thursday. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
For over 75 years, the Marine Toys for Tots program has provided toys and emotional support to economically disadvantaged children, primarily during the holidays. But needs are not just seasonal, and now, neither is Toys for Tots. They've expanded their outreach to support families in need all year long with their new programs, including the Foster Care Initiative, the Native American Program, and the Youth Ambassador Program. To learn how you can help, visit toysfortots.org.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are two good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Spear, a licensed agent with Litchfield Insurance Associates here in Beaumont. A large portion of Americans don't have life insurance or don't have enough. Whether you need a temporary policy, something to help with income during retirement, or making sure your final expenses are taken care of, having life insurance is an act of love and security for your whole family. Having a local trusted agent makes navigating through the sometimes complex world of life insurance so much easier. And I would love to be the one to help you. I'm Kaylee Spear. For your free consultation, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-769-0005.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Randy Corrigan here, second half of the hour. This is where I get the headache at about 45 minutes in. Hopefully I start to get used to it. But long-time organizer, first-time radio host. So I'm not only joined by Victor Mineros here, but I'm also joined by my mentor and brother Kamek, who's sitting right over there, who is quite actually a very funny individual. And what we're thinking about doing is having another special session if I can convince him to do it. And just real quick, Carlos Gonzalez said he's listening and he texted me, so he actually heard all the teasing happen. Short of that, what is the reason why I'm bringing up Brother Kamek here is the Marky Poo that we've been talking about is actually came from Brother Kamek, where we nicknamed Marky Poo. So what I'm thinking about doing is maybe we're going to do like a 7-minute or 10-minute bit every single week where Brother Kamek gets to come on and actually tease Marky Poo, and all the listeners get to hear.
There you go.
All the things that we get. What do you think, Vic? You like this idea?
I like the idea. There you go, Marky Poo.
Mark's done now. Like everybody in the organization is going to start calling him Marky Poo.
Exactly.
I let it out about 2 shows ago. And it's funny when Kamek actually texted me after he listened to it, and he was like, "Oh man, that was so funny! I think you let Marky Poo out. Like the secret is out. The nickname is gone."
But we got to be nice to him because he's running the board, and the board guy is always one of the most important guys in radio. So he can shut you off and
that's okay. I'll just sick Brother Kamek on him.
There you go. It's great to see Randy.
Instead of us having a 7-minute Marky Poo segment, we'll do a 15 if he messes with us on the board. What
there
do
you go. We're just gonna if you continue, we're gonna do the whole 2 hours of Marky Poo Worker Power Hour.
Well, Brother Kamek, we really appreciate you stopping in at the show. I know you were in between somewhere, and he came in, and he's looking at me kind of with this one eye and a squint right now. And he wants to come over and grab the microphone, and we definitely. I don't know if you want to come over and sit in, but the problem with Randy is it's really hard to stop him once he starts talking.
Well, he deserves this. He's done a lot for
Of course he does.
For the organization.
But imagine the dichotomy that I'm in, Vic, when I have him on the show,
right.
and all these years, I don't shut Randy up.
You can't.
I just can't, And then I'm trying to run the show and I'm trying to stay on time, and I'm like, hey boss, you gotta cut this thing off, man. Let's go. Anyway,
I think what you think the Golden Globes Award of music, the Q music. We were gonna have to carry a radio and just have Q music out.
No, he'll talk right over it. I'm telling you, he'll tell him, no, turn that camera back on.
Exactly, even with the curtains, right, Randy?
Yeah, we can't repeat that on the air. But no, in all seriousness, we really appreciate you stopping by the studio. You're more than welcome to come by anytime. He comes in and he starts talking to everybody and distracting everybody on me.
I know. I didn't want to.
Hey,
I was looking at
I
him.
love the guy.
I'm sitting right across from him, and I was asking you, "Is like, can I sit somewhere else because he's going to be making faces?
That's what he
make
did.
Me laugh.
Starts teasing us, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we, obviously it's all in good fun. That's one of the other things I love about Randy is he is funny and he can actually dish it.
Oh yeah,
but he can take it too. There's a lot of people that dish it and can't take it. Randy's really good at laughing at himself when we rib him and get him right back.
That's funny.
It was funny. A couple weeks ago we were doing something and he actually made me laugh for about 5 minutes when we were talking about something and he says, I'm 80 years old and this and that. It's not likely I'm going to be making any changes anytime soon. I'm kind of set in my ways, right?
But if you really think about, I know Randy's great in jest, but if you really think about some of the members Randy Kamek has represented, some of the parents who had the ability to send their kids to school, just all of the change he has done in within the labor movement, especially within our organization that we hold dear to our hearts in the Teamsters Union. So on behalf of me, Randy, I appreciate you. I've always looked up to you and thank you very much. But I think it's better to make fun of you than. But in all sincerity, thank you, Randy. You've done a lot for our organization
and to that point, that's why we have his name on the side of the building.
Right.
So you can thank him all you want. It's kind of hard to top the side of the building.
Right.
Unless we're going to name your hall Kamek Hall too.
Well, we got a graffiti artist who's painting a mural of Randy in my building.
There you go. All right. So with that, we've had our fun with Randy. Again, we appreciate you coming by, and I don't know if you want to say a few words, but that's up to you. He's definitely not afraid to grab the mic.
There you go.
So Vic, you represent the trash industry. Let's talk about that. Obviously, waste industry, trash industry, how important it is. We kind of take for granted that all this trash gets picked up at our front door all the time and it disappears. And it's usually a Teamster that got rid of it for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you really think about it, everybody at home, including my wife, she, when I first started organizing waste workers and just coming home and explaining over the dinner table to my kids and my family, just talking about waste. And you really just think about it. The only thing somebody thinks about in a household, for the most part, the common person just thinks they grab a bag from the trash can, from the kitchen trash can, they put it outside, they put that can outside once a week, and it's gone.
Disappears.
It disappears.
Magic.
But if you really do what people don't know, the average person doesn't know, it is the 5th most dangerous job.
Yep.
There is more death and injury related in this job than cops and firefighters put together.
Yep. Very true.
This is statistics. This is not something that just we're talking about to make us sound better or make them look good. It is a very, very hard job. People also neglect to think about some of the stuff. Like currently, we're about to start negotiations with a MRF, which is an acronym for Material Recovery Facility. So what these people do, and it's a majority women who literally sort through the trash. Just imagine some of the disgusting stuff that you throw away in your household.
Not me. It's all clean. It's all nice. It's all perfect. Because I'm thinking about those people that got to sort it. I'm just kidding.
But no, you just think
about it. Good point.
It's just it's pretty disgusting, some of the stuff that you throw away. Multiply that times a block, times a whole community, times a whole city. I mean, it's just the list goes on. And there's actual human beings recycling They are literally, and it's not a machine. It's funny because when we were organizing this unit that's coming up in negotiations, Gavin Newsom, he was the lieutenant governor at the time, and he met with these workers. This was at the Orange County Labor Federation, and he had met with these workers, and these women started explaining to him what they do for a living. They're sorters. And he was taken back in the sense is like, wait a minute, this is not a machine who goes in and pulls all of this stuff.
No, it's a human being.
It's a human being. Yeah, sorry, Gavin Newsom with the tech industry, but no, these are human beings, and these are Teamster jobs. And it was one of the most gratifying organizing drives I ever did. It's just women standing up to their boss, and all they did was, it was, we hear what moves workers. It's wages. Obviously, wages is one of the most important things because we go out and do our job to feed our family.
But it's usually secondary to.
It's secondary to respect.
That's right.
It was, there was this one lady there. She has passed since. We used to call her abuela. Everybody used to call her grandma, abuela in Spanish. And during the union busing campaign, it was, they were like after her because she was just a leader there. Everybody gravitated to her. She would come into the lunchroom. She would bring lunch for everybody. She would bring tortillas for everybody. And whatever she brought, everybody was welcome to. So they were after her to where they asked her, you can talk to the large group of workers here, of ladies here, and make sure they don't vote for a union. She stood up. She was in her late 70s at the time. She stood up and she said, "Do you remember when I came to you and asked you, can you move me from my sorting position because the sun was burning my back? And you literally did move me, but you moved me underneath the belt and where all the trash was hitting my head." And she literally told them, "It is my turn now. I am going to talk to all of these my coworkers, and I'm going to tell them to vote yes for the union." I mean, it was just one of the most
powerful story.
Just powerful, and
probably a defining moment on that campaign too, huh?
Total defining moment
Shifted
in the
things, and everybody would look at that leader and went, I'm going to follow her.
And it created more leaders from that. It was just, she was a soft-spoken woman, but she was just leading, and it created more women of just getting louder and powerful. One of the times I get a call, and they were like, "Vic, they're bringing us into a union busting meeting, and we're not going to go in there. We're not going to go in there." And I said, "No, you guys got to go in there. They're paying you. You're going to go in." They're like, "What do you mean? We don't want to go in." And I said, "No, I want you to go in.
And control the message.
So what they did when they walked into the meeting with the union buster, they sat down, and she got up, and she said, "I know we have to be here, and we're going to be here. We're going to comply, but we don't have to listen to you." So they all stood up, grabbed their chairs, and turned their back. Spun them around. It was like the greatest thing, just hearing these stories. And these are workers that are just everyday workers who just want to supply for their family, want to have dignity in their workplace. And we got huge corporations who just take advantage of them.
And that's the amazing thing is I've always found that by and large, people prioritize dignity and respect at work over wages because, not that obviously wages are important, but if you've got a choice between two work environments and one has got a lot of dignity and respect and one has none but makes a little more money, I know on the surface people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go chase the money." No, they're not. Most people are going to choose the work environment's got dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
Because you are entitled to that at work.
Absolutely.
Dignity and respect. And, all employers, they make mistakes every now and then, but they also need to be held accountable when they do and correct it. And just as if an employee makes a mistake, we get corrective action, right? The employer should get corrective action as well.
It's that easy. I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's easy. And I always say this in organizing drives. It's these corporations, these huge businesses, they won't do any work without a contract.
But they expect everybody to work without a contract.
They expect everybody to work without a contract. And that's what people don't understand. They go out of their way to try to convince you. They hire these high-end firms to try to convince workers that they don't need a voice, that we have an open door policy. But it's
don't need a union, have someone get in between us?
Exactly. You and I can resolve everything.
Even though they got 400 attorneys and they got HR and they got this and they got that. But you don't need anybody. I should have all of what I need and all the resources, and you need to come in with no support.
and it's funny because the lower level management says, well, I can't do anything about it. This directive is coming from upstairs. So my answer to that is, yeah, you do need a union because upstairs is always going to, you've heard it a million times. It's, I can't do anything. This is coming from upstairs. So
see what happens when I get you started about organizing?
See, I can go. I think we need more than 2 hours.
No, we're good, man. We got plenty of time. This is a cool thing about having your own show. You get to do what you want.
That's so cool. Yeah, but no.
Isn't this cool?
It is.
We got a Teamster show. We got a labor show. It's the only one.
No, I appreciate you. This is actually really, really cool. I'm excited, and I can always just get to talking, especially because I'm very passionate about organizing.
And this is the purpose of the show, Vic, is that we want more and more people in the general public to hear how important unions are in the community. 1, 2, the connections within the community and how valuable being union is. And then also bring the awareness on they too can be union. They too can organize.
Right.
And so there's, thousands of people listening right now live as they're driving their cars or they're on their way to work or on their way home. And as you're listening in, you too can do this because we've seen as organizers, just like the lady that you just described, what seemed like impossible situations, they find that hope and inspiration and they change their future by coming together and making something happen.
And they are the union. They are the power. They are the ones who join together to demand these.
And we're fortunate enough to work with them.
To work with them, to guide them through. And it's important. Especially these waste workers, they go through day in and day out. We see.
What a tough job.
It is a tough job.
And good reminder that a job like that is actually more dangerous than police officers or firefighters. And look, there's no disrespect to police officers and firefighters.
Oh, absolutely not.
They typically get all the glory, though.
Right.
The trash driver, they should get a lot of glory because every single day they're removing everything.
They're moving every day. Every day they keep the communities clean. And it's. I mean, even from the little stuff, some of my members that they have to go through in downtown LA with the little common things of homelessness.
Yeah.
During the wintertime, it becomes really cold and
they have to be very careful at how they're doing their job. They don't kill somebody. They don't run them over.
Right. And we've had a lot of situations like that where there has been fatalities and running people over. The unhoused living in a dumpster and the truck picks it up and dumps them into the packer. And so they have to be very, very cautious. There's a bad day for a sanitation member can be a fatality either for himself or somebody from the general public. And that's why it's important to have a voice in the workplace. That's why it's exciting that you started the hour or the previous hour with talking about union approval ratings from younger people. And one of the things that used to kill me when my kids were younger is just hearing my kids, we're talking about 20 years ago, hearing my kids' friends just say, "What does your dad do?" "Well, he works for the Teamsters." And it would really bother me inside. And now I've learned to I learned over the years to tell them what is a Teamster, explain to them what it is. But hearing one of my son's friends say, what does your dad do?" He works for the Teamsters." "What's that?"
Right.
And before I used to get mad and grab my son by the collar and say, "Explain to him what's a Teamster."
How come you're not telling him, boy?
Exactly.
Right.
So
you should be educating all your friends.
And
what's wrong with you?
Exactly. And over the years now, he's explained it, and he's been a part of it. He comes with me to different stuff. He's friends with a lot of friends that I have. He's 20 years old, a kid in college, and
so to that point is exactly why we have this radio show on. It's why we have the billboards. It's why we have the stuff on the buses.
Right.
We're doing exactly that, which is trying to educate, and also being in the schools and the training center, is we're trying to saturate the message so that everybody does know what a Teamster is.
Right.
Because it's time, especially with as important as these jobs are. Just the two we talked about today, the dispatcher and the trash man.
Right.
Like, those are pretty important spots. How does everybody not know what a Teamster is? Everybody should know what Teamsters
And
are.
even I was thinking of that sitting over there, and I was just thinking about the dispatcher position. It's just like you're calling somebody who's answering the phone, who's a Teamster, in a life or death situation.
Yep.
How incredible is that? How important is that
and
role?
carrying them through the most important couple minutes of their life that, an absolute need. Just incredible. So let's shift gears here real quick. I'd like to talk a little bit about UPS.
Okay.
Just briefly, because, obviously it's the gold standard of jobs, benefits, retirement, as far as retirement vehicles, when it comes to the transportation industry, in addition to then transition over to the Amazon discussion.
Absolutely.
And, clearly, the two of you, we're going to be able to riff on this pretty darn good over the next 35 minutes.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk a little bit about, you said you were from UPS.
Correct.
And you were a package car driver.
Absolutely.
Right. And one of the things you can never say is a lazy package car driver, right? They all hustle. And tell them to say, oh, union members are lazy. The first thing I say is, you ever seen a lazy UPS driver? And they go, well, no. I mean, it's rare. Sometimes you could find one. It's hard to. But, for the most part, they hustle and they help make that company a ton of money. But it's also a great job because it's been a Teamster job for more than 100 years. This is KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. It's Randy Corgan of the Worker Power Hour. What's your response to that regarding it being the gold standard contract?
It definitely is a gold standard contract, and it demonstrates that how to keep a corporation responsible, how to keep a corporation
and profitable,
and very profitable. That's where I was going to. It was very profitable, and we are an industry. We lead the industry in doing it. We're very proud of it. I sit as the Western Region Assistant Director. I also chair the panel out here in Southern California, which that is it covers 11 locals where resolution on grievances is done at these panels.
So I actually did a piece on the grievance procedure a few shows ago.
Okay.
There was one we only had an hour, and I got cut off simply because I ran out. But the next time I do the finish out the grievance procedure and arbitration procedure, we'll talk a little bit more in detail about that, because the general public doesn't understand how important that grievance procedure is to all of us union members, right?
Oh, very, very. It's like a lifeline for us, because that's where you hear discipline from the highest to discharge, suspension, language interps, and you get to see a lot of the business agents who handle UPS, especially because it covers all of Southern California, Southern Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. So it's one of the biggest.
That's a lot of
riders.
UPSers.
That's a lot of UPSers. It's 47,000. So yeah, and it covers all of that area. But UPS has always been good. It's been good and been good to my family. It's been good to my membership. Has there been some horrible human beings in management? Absolutely. Absolutely. But in a whole, it's been good. It's been good to the Teamsters because of the Teamsters.
Yeah, that's been good because they've been under a collective bargaining agreement for over 100 years.
Right.
And there's an agreed to way to do business.
Absolutely.
Period. And most of the time they do business the way they're supposed to. And when they don't, we have a right to file a grievance.
And we have a contract.
That's right.
It's funny because I've had some upper management over the years, and it's just say, do you know Jim Casey, which today is Founders Day for them?
It's today?
Today,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
sir. Yeah, I was at a yard this morning. That's why I knew. I was in Van Nuys out up in the valley up there, and
Randy actually knew Jim Casey.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Did you really?
At the tail end of Casey's.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right. So you get managers who say, Jim Casey was the one who invited the Teamsters, but the real reason is he did invite. That is a true story, but he invited the Teamsters because the Teamsters had the best of the best.
That's right, and the ability to do it.
And the ability to do it. I mean, Teamsters were the cream of the crop. So, and we still are. We still are.
Which is why we have our horse and wheel in the logo.
Right.
Because we're still, we still hold to the history, and we respect that journey by holding on to that within our logo.
Oh,
because
yes.
that's where it started.
Right. That's exactly where it
And
started.
the UPS has started on bicycles, right?
On bicycles in Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle,
Right.
Washington. That's where it started all.
All right, so let's shift to Amazon. Obviously, congratulations to you, Local 396. Just, I know technically the board hasn't technically issued the complaint, but the cool thing was the board acknowledged the complaint was coming, right?
Right.
Right. It was. We were having some internal discussions about this the other day, and I was as the director of the division, I was very insistent on us doing the press release. And I figured that when we did the press release, it was going to draw everybody out on the subject. And clearly the energy that's come off of that press release, it was actually icing on the cake when the National Labor Relations Board acknowledged that the complaint was coming on the joint employer issue.
Oh, I mean, that is huge. That
Enormous.
Is enormous. And I honestly, in all reality, I want to thank you as being the director for the Amazon division at the International. Randy has stepped up and helped out. I mean, I've known Randy for so many years in the capacity when he was an organizer. And yeah, he did create a lot of enemies. But one thing Randy always did, and I was always grateful for Randy, I can pick up the phone any time of the day and say, Randy, I'm having an action. I should have called you 2 weeks ago, but can you get me 40 people? And he would say, are you serious? This short notice, this is unbelievable.
Well, I would say things that
we're not going to say
it right now.
Absolutely. That's where I'm being PG. And then, lo and behold, you would have
50.
Everybody there. No, you would have your 40.
No, if you said 40, I would say 50. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, that's my
No,
start.
you did.
Let me exaggerate.
All right, let me add you. It was everybody. But yeah, I mean, and so on behalf of the local union that I represent, thank you very much, Randy. I know you've done a lot of work. You've helped out. You're doing amazing things, especially in 1932. I pick up the phone a lot of times and ask you some of the dumbest questions, simple questions, but you helped out in this great fight in Amazon, because it's not just organizing these workers, it's protecting a way of life.
And it's protecting an industry right now. Thank you for the kind words, but you're absolutely right. We're protecting an industry right now.
Really?
And these workers that are as courageous as they are, that are going out and extending pickets and challenging others to demand recognition.
Absolutely.
They are absolutely taking control of this industry right now. They are demanding that Amazon come to the table and do what's right by this industry.
How incredible is that? Just listening to that, how incredible is that these workers are standing up and taking matters into their hands. They've been to I think around a dozen states throughout the country and extending.
Yep.
Now they're a joint employer. This is a decision. How is it that the biggest delivery company doesn't hire one driver?
That's correct. 300,000 of them.
300,000.
With their name on the uniform, with their name on the van,
Right.
but they're not ours.
Right.
Isn't that incredible? This is how, this morning at 4 a.m. this morning, I was on a call with somebody in the Eastern time zone. I can't say the area because there's a lot of stuff that's coming here very soon.
Right.
And they were talking about at their facility how inspired they were by these things that they're seeing on TikTok, that they're seeing on Facebook, that they're seeing where workers they're seeing other workers that look just like them, that are demanding Amazon, fix this, change this, pay more, recognize, bargain, and
don't unjustly fire my coworker.
Correct. Or yeah, absolutely.
That is a big thing too.
So seeing, this literally this morning, 4 a.m. on a call, group 2,500 miles away, talking about how they're building capacity right now and what those steps are, because they're inspired by these very things we're talking about right now. There are literally tens of thousands of workers, potentially hundreds of thousands of them in this space, not just at Amazon, but other companies. And we're going to talk Amazon specifically here for a bit, that are inspired by these workers that are willing to take on a giant like this, because they believe it can happen and they know that there is a pathway, and they're not just giving into the company's rhetoric that it's a futile process.
Well, they're watching it happen. They are watching it happen right in front of their eyes, and there's, you got your naysayers. You're never going to be able to organize Amazon. You're never going to get a contract with them. Well, how in the world would you ever know if we are or not without taking on that fight, without taking on that Goliath? And even with the UPSers, I go, like today, I spoke in a group setting of them, and exciting because, we've been getting hundreds of calls about congratulations to these Amazon workers who the board finally seen they are a joint employer with Amazon. They're not just working for the DSP, the delivery service provider. And it's starting to fire up our UPS membership too, because it's in UPS. I understand. I get it. They work a lot of hours. It's a very tiring job.
It's a tough job.
It's a really, really tough job. I did it for certainly close to a decade. So, and I know how tough it is, how tired you get home, but it's engaging the membership that it's not just the union. It's not, they are the union. They are partnering up with with workers who are taking on a corporation who wants to destroy the industry that provides for their family.
And Amazon claims that they're not trying to destroy the industry, yet they refuse to acknowledge that they're the employer of these 300,000 workers, these drivers that have all their branding, that they actually don't, a lot of them don't have benefits. The wages are very subpar for the industry. There's no retirement vehicles for any of them. And quite frankly, they're also taking advantage of the small business community, because these DSP owners, the ones that are the contracted drivers, not the individual drivers, but the contractor that hires like 40, 50, 80, 100, 110 drivers in each of these, what we call DSPs, or delivery service partners. Those individual small business owners, many of them never knew transportation before they started running it, because obviously Amazon runs all of it for them.
Right, they're being used.
That's right. And then it takes them a while, and then they go, oh my, this is a one-way street. And they would like to pay their drivers more. They would actually like to give them holidays, because for those of you who don't know, those Amazon drivers don't get paid holidays.
No, they don't.
They don't get, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you just kind of assume are staples. Right. They're not staples at all. It is absolutely egregious what is going on with this business model. And tomorrow we're going to be having a day of action in Long Beach, where we're going to have a massive amount of Teamsters down at Local 848's Hall.
In Long Beach.
Yeah, and we have Adam Schiff, who's going to be there, as well as Bonta, Attorney General Bonta for the state of California.
Yes, sir.
As well as a number of other elected officials. Actually, it's a very long list, too long of a list to actually name off. And there's going to be Amazon workers there that are asking directly for those individuals to start to create policy to help protect these workers, on top of policy to help them find easier pathways to organize. Because what people will say, what a lot of I hear sometimes, well, but they need to have an election process. Okay, well, if we all follow what happened at JFK 8 in Staten Island, ALU filed an election. Now, clearly they're Teamsters now. That group is affiliated with us. With us, correct. And they filed, and they went through an election, and they won, and Amazon has refused to bargain this whole time. And Amazon's, calling the NLRB unconstitutional and just kind of, whatever, I'm not going to pay attention to it. And so clearly, I'm not saying this to dissuade people from the process. What I'm saying is that what these workers are realizing is they're not going to depend on that process. What they're going to do is they're taking it right to Amazon's doorstep and taking direct action.
Well, because even if you start thinking about their business model, I mean, the turnaround in these facilities is incredible. And it's, once you're there for a year, they're finding any which way to get rid of you. And a lot of people say, even some of my staff who's actually, well, Vic, that's not sustainable. And I go, it absolutely is.
It is sustainable.
How many high school graduates?
Every year.
Every year, high school graduates.
Flood the whole industry every single year.
Every single year.
New 18-year-olds.
Right. And, once you start thinking about it, it's just, it starts making sense. And that's their business model. And that business model is only to deter unions from workers forming a union and having a voice in the workplace.
That is correct. And they're not winning that now, because these workers are like, hey.
Because these workers stood up.
Did you see the drivers in Skokie demand recognition across all the DSPs in the Skokie facility yesterday?
Yes, I did see that. I was excited about that.
Yeah, it's insane that Amazon, just continues to say, "Oh yeah, they're not our drivers."
They're not your drivers when they get hurt or they want a voice in the workplace. That they're not employee drivers, but they are their drivers when they have to be told what to do and how to do it. Because most of these workers, Randy, and you're very familiar, but for your audience, these workers are being told, even when the DSP owner wants to do something, like
they get told they can't do it.
Give them an extra break because it's 120 outside. They can't do it, and they would jeopardize their contracts on that.
Hey, Mark, you ready for a quick break real quick? Let's just take a quick 60-second break. Do you got some music for me?
Thanks, Marky Poo.
Thanks, Marky Poo.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224. Are you graduating high school soon and wondering what to do next? College is one option, but why not consider the high-paying jobs made possible by Union Power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingscenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingscenter.org. Are you looking for a good union job? The Inland Empire's 14,000 member strong Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get working people trained and placed in open positions in public service clerical work and in jobs in the logistics industry. This is a new opportunity to advance your career and raise standards across the region. Visit 1932trainingscenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingscenter.org.
So we're back. Appreciate you taking care of us, Marky Poo. I'm telling you, we're going to do that 7 minutes, and punishment if he doesn't do it right. We're going to have Kamek on here, 7 minutes, and if he doesn't treat us right, Vic, we're gonna go to 15, and he's gonna have to deal with that. I do want you to know it's actually one of these days we're going to have to do that because it's a pretty funny exchange.
That's actually pretty funny. I can't wait till you go on vacation. I'm going to cover your show for the hour with Marky Poo and Randy Kamek.
There you go. I'm gonna come back to a party.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Randy Kamek shooting rubber bands to Marky Poo.
That would be fun.
That's funny.
You know, I appreciate you coming on. Let's try to wrap up this Amazon discussion. We could probably spend a couple hours on it just because seeing workers demand recognition like they are, demand change on such a large scale, it's continuing to grow more and more every single day. And seeing workers just take direct action on their own and recognizing it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a bit.
Right.
And just saying we're going to hold Amazon accountable regardless of Amazon's rhetoric. Obviously 396 at the center of all that stuff.
And some of the things like the members say, well, what are you guys doing to make them union? It's not just, we could do.
We're waving a magic wand.
I wish it was like that. I would do it. We would carry it all on our backs. And I know I have your back.
I've waved the magic wand a bunch of times.
But some, to all the members, because I explained this a lot to specifically my members is what can we do? is talk to these Amazon
That's right.
workers.
Have a conversation.
Have a conversation.
Introduce yourself.
I mean, your members or members listening here, your audience can talk to them. And it's not because the first thing when they say, hey, you need a union, we'll tell the Teamsters to come in already. It's not. We have to explain to them.
They got to build it.
They got to build it. And they are the union. They are the voice. They are the working power. They are the ones who's going to stand up. We're there to help and assist on that, but they have to stand up. And they could do it because it's been proven time and time again. But what they're scared of is you got a corporation who's just spending endless of money beating them down. And it's just to scare them straight. And nowadays, workers aren't scared anymore.
You know, it's interesting you say that because we did a short study and we found that drivers on the DSP side of things, that drivers within 4 days of going to work for an Amazon DSP are already looking for a different job.
Right.
4 days. That's on average. That's how quick. So they get the job, they start doing it for a couple of days, and then they go, oh my.
Right.
This isn't, and they're looking for another job within 4 days. Doesn't mean they leave in 4 days. But they're kind of already starting to go, okay, where else can I go? Amazon wants the entire transportation industry. And this is where I want to close this subject out, is how dangerous it would be if Amazon had control over the entire transportation industry. Clearly you look at the industries or sub-industries that Amazon or some of these huge corporate conglomerates have wiped off the face of the planet. And then we glorify a guy who flies around in his spaceship and has 15 yachts and he must be great. Well, there's a whole lot of carnage left in his wake. And,
a lot.
And the reality is it's this big machine, corporate machine that has ground, just trying to grind on these workers. And if we allow this behemoth to continue to try to dominate this industry, we all know it isn't like we're going to get our stuff cheap.
You're not getting it cheap now.
Right. Because all the money's going into someone's pocket to fly to the moon.
Right.
Or Mars next.
Or right around in one of his yachts.
Yeah. One of the one yacht that couldn't even get out of a port because
exactly
they had to move a bridge or something like that.
Exactly.
That's just insane.
How many yachts can you possibly have?
Apparently a lot when you're exploiting that many workers.
And good for them. Good for him. Good for... We're not here to take his yachts away. We're here to...
I don't know. I want to take one or two.
Look, I
get your point, though.
All it is it's just empower these workers
That's
to
right.
have a contract.
And let them have a piece of the pie. It should be successful. Have 10 yachts. This is your point. You can have 10, you can have 20 yachts. You can have 15 spaceships that fly around the globe, right? Have all those things you want. Make sure that you take care of the people that are helping that happen so that they get a good piece of the pie. And they can buy a home. They can, they can be a good community citizen and produce and contribute and purchase a car, goods and services in a particular community.
And a retirement. You give your whole life to a corporation. You should be able to retire with dignity. These CEOs, they walk away with bonus packages that when they leave, retirement packages.
They make enough in a year that they can not get another penny the rest of their life and retire on it.
Right. How
fine, if you want to run a company like that, I'm good with it, and you can have gazillions of dollars. But make sure everybody that works for you can buy a home, live in a nice neighborhood, buy a car, and buy goods and services in that area and raise their family without being stressed out of your mind.
Yes, absolutely.
I think we just solved all the problems of the world.
It's that easy, see?
We just got to get everybody to listen to our radio show. And guess what?
Exactly.
So anything else you want to talk about on Amazon? Because there's a couple other things I want to try to close up on before
I can go on, and I know you had a list of some of the stuff that we were going to talk about, but it's
Did I not cover it?
You've covered, for the most part, I think, everything, but I think we can move on, though. Move on and the other stuff we wanted to talk about on Amazon.
Is there what else you want to talk about?
Don't put me on the spot here, Randy.
No, man, this is your moment.
I'm about to do your call letters and
Go ahead, man.
No, I'm
Call
okay.
it out.
I'm not
You got
gonna-
the radio. You're going to take over for me when I go on vacation.
Yeah, there
I'm not
you
going
go.
to watch it. The radio station's going to call him and say, "Hey, we want Vic running this show, not
No,
Randy."
you're doing a great job. It's it's in the Redlands, so I can't come out here that often. I got to get a hotel room or
You can stay at my house.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, so that's one of the questions I did want to ask you is, so what do you think of this format? What do you think of the union? What do you think of us having our own format like this, our own, sort of space where we can communicate these things that we've kind of riffed on? These are conversations
right.
we've had many years,
Many years in the making.
and now everybody gets to listen to us.
Exactly. They're probably changing the station or lowering the radio. No, but it actually, Randy, this is actually really good what you're doing out there, educating people. And educating sounds like kind of like we're better than somebody. We're not. We're just telling them the good stuff coming from organized labor. And it's your billboards, 1932 billboards, your plan, your strategy on it. I get a lot of members who text me with pictures of buses and the billboards, and that's always, I don't tell you all the time, but that's
No, you should tell us every time.
Every time. And
we want to send you a bill.
But what's the funny thing about it? I mean, the billboards are great and everything. It puts our brand that we hold dear to our hearts out there. But even talking, I know Carlos Gonzalez's niece was out here on the Teamster Advantage time frame. But even talking to Carlos, some of the stuff that Carlos is doing is actually pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah.
With the youth.
Yeah, with the kids at the schools.
With the kids at the school system. I mean, that's what we have to do, and we have to go out there and teach, because not every kid is going to be a doctor. Not every kid is going to be a lawyer.
And in the Inland Empire, 82% of kids don't go to college.
You see what I mean?
82%. That's the statistics. So they go right into the workforce. So
Right.
they need to find a good union job.
A good union job. And that's something that I put in my kid's head. I know my son wants to be an engineer, and he's going to school, and he loves it.
We have engineers that are Teamsters.
There you go. He's going to be a Teamster engineer.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but some of the conversations that we had with, my wife and my kids were just like, look, don't waste my time. Don't waste my money. If you don't, it's okay. We understand.
Nothing wrong with that.
We're always going to push higher education, but that's what, if you want to do it. We can't go to school for you and do your homework for you. So, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, not all of us are cut out for it.
Not all of us are cut out for it.
Or things get in the way. You have a family when you start having a family a little too young. There's other challenges that get in the way.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with, and I think that's something our generation, it was a bad message from our parents' generation to ours, that they almost made us feel like a failure if we didn't go to college. Matter of fact, schools and all that. Like,
Absolutely.
so what's wrong with you if you're not going to college?
It's no different how they glorified supervisor positions. I mean,
yeah, good point. Yeah.
It's well, he's a manager now. Well, I mean, what's a manager?
They're still working people.
They're still working people. Yeah. They just hold a different role in the industry or role in the job site. Being a manager doesn't make you the better person. Doesn't make you being a route supervisor at UPS doesn't make you better than the driver. It's just two different roles.
That's correct.
And
there should always be a mutual respect. Yep.
Absolutely.
The supervisor asks for respect from the subordinate, and it should go the other way.
And even going back to the story about that organizing drive we had in Anaheim with that MRF, that material recovery facility, the manager there, I mean, I wish I can really describe him the way I want to describe him. He would walk around.
Yeah, we'd have to bleep you out.
Exactly.
Hopefully Mark's got the bleep
Marky
button.
Poo, are you on the button yet? No, I'll be good, I promise you. But the manager there, the general manager there, he used to walk his dog in the yard, like an old Nazi training camp, and he would yell at employees who would try to pet the dog. I mean,
why are you bringing your dog?
Why are you bringing your dog? Exactly.
Your dog?
Exactly. Well, I really know there's a special place in hell for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but no, yeah, that's the big thing is just, this. I'm excited. There's all of this stuff going around and organizing. We're getting calls. It's interesting. We received some information on worker comp attorneys reaching out to us saying that, in different parts of the state, I won't mention the state, I won't mention the attorneys, but they're saying that they have injured employees who work for Amazon, who are Amazon drivers, who have death-related stuff,
Mhm.
and Amazon is saying they're not my
They're
employee.
not mine.
Right.
And it's funny because if those attorneys that are working on those situations see the work that's actually been done in this joint employer thing,
right?
Guess what?
Well,
they're on the hook.
And that's what they're asking.
Yeah,
they're
on the hook.
yeah.
Amazon's on the hook.
Right, and that's what they're asking. They're out there asking some of the and praising the organization for the work, the stuff that said it was never going to be done. I mean, and I'm happy. I'm proud. Thank you again. I can't thank you enough. Some of the stuff that is coming out of Southern California. That's exciting. Southern California will change. Is it absolutely is changing the business model of this greedy corporation who wants to just take advantage of these workers, and it's coming out of Southern California, and it's going to spread through the whole country.
And the cool thing is tomorrow we're going to have some of those workers that are actually going to be meeting with these elected officials,
Absolutely.
asking for some direct support
Right.
on not just policy but morally what can be done to prevent this business model from continuing to erode.
They're
the
screaming
industry.
for the help.
Yep.
I mean, these business models, they've greased the line of politicians to be allowed to do some of this crooked stuff.
And most people, obviously, with what we've built out this last year and a couple years, the awareness, a lot of these elected officials were completely unaware that these so-called Amazon drivers weren't Amazon until Amazon had to answer the question saying, well,
Right.
they're not drivers for Amazon. They're drivers that are delivering packages for Amazon. I mean, there's actually a quote in the New York Times that they said
Right.
that, and it's hilarious.
It's-
Do you hear
it's-
yourself, Amazon?
Right. It's
You're not ours.
And they think they could just continuously get away with this model. It's no different than the hotel industry being disturbed by the vacation home. I won't say the name of the companies, but some of the vacation homes are the biggest hotel industry, and they don't own one piece of property. The car rental business, they're the biggest car rental taxi company, and they don't own one vehicle.
Yeah, insane.
It's insane, and this model, if it's not changed, it is going to take away from our youth. My grandson.
And just so everybody knows, there's actually, I think we have 38 U.S. senators that have signed on to
Right.
demanding, Murphy is the one leading
Yes.
that charge,
Right.
demanding that Amazon deal with this model. Is actually in a bit of a letter writing war between the Senate, U.S. Senate, and Amazon itself over the business model. It's saying this is not sustainable for the workforce. You can't keep doing this to
You can't.
workers.
You
So it's
can't.
good to see that we do have some elected officials that are willing to stand up and make something happen.
And then the funny thing about it is when you go into it is they start calling it unconstitutional. Now they're worried about it.
Isn't it? So here's what's crazy. There's typically one rule in this space, which is the National Labor Relations Act
Right.
that governs all this. And I want to make that unconstitutional. So that there's none.
Right.
So there's no rule.
No world. They get, until it becomes the wild, wild west and the crazy stuff that happened.
You just
when
scratch your head when you're hearing this going, is this really happening in front of me right now?
It's crazy. It's crazy the time we're living in. But I'm glad that I'm seeing youth stand up and saying enough is enough. Enough. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to make my employer pay its fair share. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible.
By the thousands, workers are doing this right now.
By the
It's
thousands.
literally not an exaggeration. As you said, I'm the director of the division, so I'm kind of aware of where it's going on everywhere, and it is pretty amazing to see. So
It's exciting to see that unions, it's cool to be in a union, it's cool to form a union, but it's even better when they say it's sexy to be a Teamster.
there you go. Yeah, we've never described ourselves as sexy. You know.
Yeah, well,
Look
not
at the-
me
look at-
especially.
Look at the screen. Right. So
maybe Randy came back.
Oh, Randy's definitely sexy. We really
Randy
appreciate
came
him.
back.
He's still here. He hung on, man.
He did.
We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Randy.
He actually wanted to give Marky Poo an exit, and see, look at him. Oh boy, we're gonna have fun with this one as the show goes on. So I just got a couple minutes left. Really appreciate you coming on. I don't know if you want to close on something.
Thank you for having me. I continue to.
You love this platform?
I love the platform.
Anytime you want to come on, you can come on.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do the show when you're on vacation with Marky Poo over there.
Sounds like a plan.
Me and Randy K-Mac will take over while you're on vacation. But no, thank you very much. Keep supporting organized labor. Keep the good fight and keep on talking to these Amazon workers, because they all your members, all your audience do make a difference out there. So thank you guys. I appreciate everybody.
So, as you know, this is the Worker Power Hour, and one of the things that we're doing is we're building worker power in the Inland Empire. You see our buses, you see our billboards, you see obviously our commercials and the radio show, and everything that we're doing is we're really trying to build a big, broad message around building worker power. And you may ask yourself, what can you do to build worker power? What you can do to build worker power is you can talk to your family, you can talk to your friends, and you can talk to your neighbors, and encourage them to come together and do some of these things like you hear on this show. You hear live people, real people talking about how they built worker power. You're talking about the success of worker power or collective bargaining and the value of that to our community. And no one should be afraid to build worker power. We're always going to encourage you to do that. And so with that, longtime organizer, first-time radio host, this is Randy Corrigan with Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. See you on the next show.
But I guess you didn't know, as they said the story goes, baby, now I got the flow, 'cause I knew it from the start.